Hey guys, welcome to Troy Time. Hey, check it out. I am so happy to be bringing you this video today. I'm going to tell you today about the best indoor garden. This really is the best indoor garden. Guys, I've been doing hydroponics now for about 4 years. I've done hydroponics inside. I've done hydroponics outside. I've done soil gardens outside. I've done hydroponics in full grow racks. What I'm going to show you today is the best indoor garden, and it's something that you absolutely can do, and it's easy and it's inexpensive. I'm so happy to be bringing you this video. I hope every one of my subscribers watches this video all the way to the end. I hope everyone watches this video. I love this garden. I want you to love it too. Stay tuned. Let's talk about it. Hey guys, today I'm going to talk to you about a real indoor garden that grows all your favorite vegetables that you grow outside. You're going to grow it inside, and it's easy and it's fun, right? What we're going to talk about today is the shoe rack garden, but I'm going to make you see it in ways you've never seen it. I'm going to show you exactly what I'm doing to make this awesome garden this winter and beyond. What I'm going to show you today is that we're going to grow real vegetables, people's favorite vegetables, summertime vegetables, on this shoe rack behind me. We're going to grow real vegetables. We're going to grow tomatoes, peppers, peas, cucumbers, all kinds of different herbs. We're still going to keep the massive production that we get from our plate lettuces, from our baby greens. We're going to grow pak choi. We're going to grow romaine lettuce. We're going to grow a bunch of romaine lettuce. We're going to still grow our microgreens. We're still going to grow our sprouts. All that stuff's just going to have a huge, huge harvest weekly for us, which is absolutely amazing. But now we're going to combine that with real vegetables growing on the shoe rack right behind me, okay? I'm going to show you how to do it, and it's easy to do, guys. We're not going to use any sort of pumps or anything like that. I don't talk enough about the amazing cracking method of hydroponics. You don't have to be a scientist, right? You're not going to be in here with a graduated cylinder measuring things and stuff like that. It's super easy to do. Most of the nutrients that I use, I just eyeball now. It's so easy, it's so much fun, and you're just going to have a ton of production all winter long. I'm excited. I hope you can hear it in my voice. I'm really pumped up. I just can't wait for people to start doing this. I think it's great. Okay guys, so the beauty of me starting at square one with this rack is that I'm going to walk you through every single thing that I do. I'm going to document it. I'm going to show you what I'm doing, how much maintenance, very little, that I do. I'm going to show you my harvest. I'm going to show you what sort of containers we're using and what sort of methods we're using, where we're placing them on the rack. I'm going to show you everything, right? And I don't give enough praise, and I don't talk often enough about how awesome the cracking method of hydroponics is, okay? We're not using any sort of pumps. We're not using any air pumps. We're not using any water pumps, nutrient pumps, nothing like that. We're not using any sort of measurement devices. We're not, measuring the EC, the pH of this stuff. We're not doing any. Most of the nutrients that I use now, I just eyeball. I used to measure them with the scale, but I don't even do that anymore. I just eyeball it. I'll measure it with the scale for you guys. But I'm just telling you, it's so easy to do. It's not like you have to be a scientist. We're not going to be sitting there in white coats with graduated cylinders trying to do our hydroponics. It's easy stuff. You don't need any extra stuff other than just this rack and the lights and the containers that we're using. It's so easy. It's so much fun. Even kids can do it. Even elderly people can do it. And you can get a ton of production. I'm so excited. Let's get into what we're actually going to do. Okay guys, so what I'm basically going to do is I'm going to use the top rack, much in the ways that you've seen already in my videos. So the top half of the rack is going to be sprouts, microgreens, and baby greens. That's essentially what we've been doing in the past, and we've had some awesome, awesome production off of this thing. I'll show you some of the slides here. All right, so let me just go over the list of everything that we're going to grow on this rack this year, and it's going to be awesome. I'm going to grow tomatoes. I'm going to grow peppers. I'm going to grow peas. I'm going to grow cucumbers. I'm going to grow pak choi. I'm going to grow lots and lots of romaine lettuce. I'm going to grow microgreens, various microgreens. I'm going to grow various sprouts, and I'm going to grow various herbs, okay? The top half of this rack is going to be dedicated to baby lettuces, microgreens, sprouts, and herbs. And the bottom half of the rack is going to be dedicated to your larger vegetables, tomatoes, cucumbers, peas, and peppers, right? Now here's what's awesome. So when you see this rack, you might not think that it looks like much, but we've already seen that this rack is awesome for baby lettuces. we've already seen that this rack is awesome for microgreens and sprouts. But now what I want to show you is that not only can we do things on tiny little plates, we can actually do things with smaller tubs. That's what's going to open up the ability for us to grow these larger vegetables. By having these larger tubs on this rack, we can use the Kratky method and we can grow them to maturity and have an awesome garden. So the first thing to make you realize that it's awesome is not only can we do all the cool stuff with the microgreens and the baby greens, but we can do the full vegetables. That should be the first thing that opens up your eyes. Then, now I want to surprise you even more. Because once we're growing these vegetables, if you look at this rack, what you'll notice is it essentially, the entire rack is its own trellis. So now, when we're growing all these wonderful vegetables on the bottom, the rack will naturally trellis them upwards. So we don't have to worry about trellising. It's awesome. Even beyond that, not only is it a trellis, it's a lighted trellis. So now, internal to the trellis, we have lighting. So there's going to be light everywhere. We've got some ambient light coming in from the window and the doors that's surrounding us, but we've also got lights going right up the trellis. It is an amazing grow system. It's awesome. And finally, inside of that trellis, we can still do all of our plate growing with all of our greens and lettuces and microgreens and things like that. So it makes for just an awesome system. We're going to start at the bottom with our big vegetables. We're going to trellis them up the top on the shoe rack. And then inside each rack, we're still going to put all of our plates, which are growing our baby greens and our microgreens and our sprouts. And so it's just a wonderful tower of just awesome vegetables that doesn't use any air pumps, that doesn't use any water pumps. We're not using any dirt, right? It's totally clean. It's totally easy. Let me go over briefly just the amazing benefits of growing food indoors, okay? So I've grown a lot of food. I've grown a lot of food indoors over the years. I've grown a lot of food outdoors. Indoors is so much better, okay? Let me just start listing things. You don't have to worry about bugs, okay? You don't have to worry about worms. You don't have to worry about aphids. You don't have to worry about tomato hornworms, right? You don't have to worry about cabbage moth. Cabbage moth killed so much of my crop this year. You don't have to worry about any kind of bugs like that. No vine borers or anything like that. We're not using any dirt. It's totally clean. You don't have to worry about the bugs. You don't have to worry about birds. You don't have to worry about squirrels. You don't have to worry about rabbits. None of that. So none of that is a concern from indoors. Then what about the weather? You don't have to worry if a big storm comes. It's not going to blow everything over. You don't have to worry if the sun is just cooking everything in a drought. Everything's controlled. You control everything. It's so awesome. It's so successful. Any effort and time that you put into this, you're going to have a harvest. You can't say that about outdoor gardening. There's a lot of variables, things you can't control, and a lot of crops really don't survive real well. Also, from a personal standpoint, looking at the person, you don't have to worry. It's not backbreaking. You're not digging in the dirt or anything like that. You're not moving huge quantities of dirt around. There's none of that. It's just water in small amounts, right? Totally clean. Oh, that's the other thing. It's not dirty. You can garden anytime. I have a full-time job trying to keep a garden going. Sometimes I'll come home from work and I'm struggling before the sun goes down. I got to get these things in the ground, or I got to get these things harvested, or I got to get these things transplanted. If you've got a garden outside, you know what I mean. An indoor garden, you can garden anytime. You just turn on the lights, it's right there. It's not cold, right? You're not bending over. You can garden at midnight. If you've got insomnia and you wake up and you want to do something, go tend to your garden. Man, you'll be so relaxed, and then you can go right back to bed. You can garden anytime, day or night. You can garden in your underwear. You really can. You don't got to put on some heavy coat to go outside or something. If it's raining when you can't garden or whatever, you're inside, it's right there. And it's so close. It's not like you got to go outside and get a hose and do all this other stuff. It's right there. So you just go to the sink and you just pour a little nutrients in, right? All you got to do is just pour a little nutrients in every couple days. On the plates, you're just pouring a little nutrients, say every couple days, 2 to 3 days. And on the tubs, maybe once a week you're filling them up. So it's so easy. It's so much fun. Anyone can do it. And it's going to just have a ton of production over the winter months. There's a lot of people that are going to do things like a cold frame outside, which is like a big container where they grow things. Don't do that. That's a waste of time compared to this. The cold frame, you're not going to be able to grow nearly the variety of things. You're not going to be able to grow tomatoes in a cold frame. It's just not going to happen. You're not going to be able to grow your summer vegetables. You can grow them on this rack. Also, on a cold frame, everything grows really, really slow. Even some of the things, the cold weather crops that you can grow, it's not like they're out there just churning away. Indoors in the hydroponics, these things are going to grow faster than they do in the summer in the dirt. They're going to just really churn out large amounts, large volume of things that you can harvest. It's awesome. So there's just so many reasons to grow indoors. I love the indoor gardening. That's why I'm so excited. I was really I've really missed it. I shut down all my indoor gardening to move all my gardening outdoors for the summer. I'm never going to do that again. I'm going to be doing much more stuff indoors. I'm going to reduce the size of my outdoor garden. I'm going to save my outdoor gardening for just things that are very large and spanning. My indoor garden, anything that I can possibly do indoors, I'm going to do indoors next year because it's just so much easier. The maintenance is easier, the success rate is higher, and it's just a great way to go. So all that, I don't mean to be so long-winded. I'm just trying to express. That's why I'm so high energy about this. Every single person needs to have this rack. This is why it's the best rack. I've got full-size grow racks upstairs in my grow room. I'm not excited about those. I'm excited about this. Why? Because I know every single family can do this. If you've got, even in a small apartment, even in a small house, this is a 1 square foot grow system, right? It's 1 square foot. You can totally find 1 square foot to get this much production for your family and food, and it's so much fun. And it's only in 1 square foot. I've got mine nestled right here in the kitchen. It's right, easily accessible, and you can just watch it grow, and it's just awesome. You can take it right off the rack and put it right on your plate. It's awesome. This thing is much less expensive than a larger grow rack. Larger grow racks, they cost a lot. The rack costs a lot. Just the lighting for those things costs a lot. These are much more inexpensive and much more efficient. They use the space. The way that I'm showing you how we're going to use this space is so efficient. We're going to grow the maximum amount of food that you can grow in that space. It's awesome. Okay, so again, we're not using hardly any electricity. We're not using any pumps. We're not using any air pumps or water pumps. We're not using any filters. We're not using anything like that. The only thing we're using is lights. These are small lights. You could totally run this rack off solar so easy. If you want the quick parameters, each light is about 4 watts and there's 8 of them. So it's 32 watts. You use 32 watts to run this entire rack for an hour. So if you ran it for 10 hours, let's say you ran it for 10 hours, 320 watts. If you had one single 100 watt solar panel, you could connect it right to this and you could run it 10 hours easy. That's the average output of my 100 watt solar panel. So if you wanted to run this by solar, you could totally do it. In terms of actual dollars, it comes in around, I think around $2, maybe $2.50 to run this entire rack for a month, right? So super easy to do. If you ran it across the 4 months of winter or whatever, then it's $10. That's how much energy you're using to power this whole rack. And the amount of food you're going to get off of this thing is awesome. Okay, so let's get started. So what I'm going to show you in this video is starting the seeds for the vegetables that are going to be on this rack, right? And then our next video, I'll separate that out, is how I do the greens and the microgreens, okay? So that'll be on our next video. And then as we continue, you'll see just 7 days after that, we'll be harvesting all those microgreens, and I'll show you the harvest and all that. And I'm just going to try and document as much as I can what's going on with this single rack, because I think it's awesome, and I think you guys will just love it. And I want to do it now so that you guys can follow along. I did have the option of just waiting 2 months where this rack is just in full bloom and there's just vegetation all over it and putting that out, because I know that video would do awesome when I get all the views and everything, because it'll be just beautiful. But I want people to do it with me. I want you to start with me right now, and I want to document it so that everyone can follow along everything I'm doing. So on that note, let's get started. Let's get some vegetables planted on this thing right now. Okay guys, let's talk about what varieties we're actually going to use. I'm going to start at the bottom of the rack and move upwards, okay? At the bottom of the rack, we're going to grow tomatoes, okay? I'm going to be brave here. I'm actually going to use Super Sweet 100s, okay? These are Burpee Super Sweet 100s. I had these on hand. These things get huge, right? So this might grow and just consume that whole rack. This thing could get fairly large. I've got them out in my garden outside, and they get big. So it's going to be fun seeing this thing grow up that rack. I'll probably take it a little bit off to the side and try and trellis it attached to the rack. But man, it's going to be fun watching this, okay? It's a little bit brave doing that. It's probably a little bit too big for this rack. There's other indoor options, right? This is definitely a great option, Tiny Tim tomatoes. I've grown those outside as well, and those work good. But I'm thinking rather than grow 4 or 5 of these on the rack and have to maintain 5 different tomato plants, why not try and go large and see if I can just maintain 1 and just get a huge harvest? I know that these give you a massive harvest, so that's awesome, and it's indeterminate, so it's just going to keep growing and keep giving you wonderful cherry tomatoes. So on the bottom of the rack, we're going to go with Super Sweet 100s. We're going to see those planted here in just a moment. Another great option, if you didn't want your tomatoes to get that big, are these Tasty Treat tomatoes. These are really good, but they're about the size of your pinky fingernail. They don't get very big at all. So for indoors, they grow about 3.5, 4 feet, and they get very, very small little tomatoes, but you can pick them right off the vine and eat them, and they're very tasty, but they're very, very tiny. So that's another good option if you didn't want to have the huge cherry tomatoes. But you really don't need to spend the money on all the specialty seeds. Something like this would be awesome just as well. This is a large red cherry tomato, and I got these seeds. All these seeds mostly I get at Walmart or at the Dollar Tree, and as you can see, they're 4 for $1. So if you don't want to spend money on the specialty seeds, one of these on the bottom would go a long way. These get huge too, and they're very, very productive. Large red cherry tomato. So we're going to go with Super Sweet 100s, but I just wanted to give you a couple other options. Okay, also on the bottom, we're going to be growing 2 different types of peppers. I've decided on Serrano chili, which is one of my favorite tasting peppers. And I thought maybe cayenne, but I ended up finally making the decision to go with these pimento chili jalapeno peppers. Okay, I want to do some jalapenos. That way we have 2 pretty much very different tasting peppers, jalapeno and a hot pepper. I wanted to stay with the hot peppers just because the production and the value of these. You know, oftentimes a meal you might use 1 or 2 of these peppers. As opposed to sweet peppers, you won't get quite the production. And it's just, I think the hot peppers will go a long, long way, much better than the sweet peppers when you're growing indoors in a small system. Rack 2 is going to be peas. And I've decided to go with a dwarfed variety that's going to climb. We want to try and keep it, manageable. And so I've gone with dwarf gray sugar peas. Okay, and that's what those look like. I'm going to skip over a few racks because those are going to be our greens. We'll do those in the next section. But after a rack full of pak choi and 4 racks full of romaine lettuce, we're going to have a rack of Space Master 80 cucumbers. The reason I'm doing that is because I wanted these high up on the rack. These are going to trellis downward. So these are going to grow upside down, essentially hanging over and growing down the rack, while the tomatoes and the peppers are going to be, and peas are going to be growing up the rack. So hopefully that'll work out well as far as our space requirements. But yeah, Space Master 80, these are a dwarf cucumber that grow full size and lots of fruits. Okay guys, along the way you're going to see a lot of unique stuff as we build this rack. This is going to be one of our very unique watering methods, and we're just going to use a Powerade Zero bottle to do all of our automated watering for us, okay? This is what we're going to do while we are germinating these seeds. As you can see here, all I'm doing is poking a small finger-sized hole in the bottom. Be careful with the knife. I recommend instead of pushing the knife into the bottle, you push the bottle into the knife, and you're very careful with your hand placement. I could do this much easier with a drill bit or something like that, but I'm trying to just be super rudimentary so that absolutely everyone can do this method. Just be careful with the knife. Don't stab yourself. And here's a close-up picture of the hole. It just has to be a small hole. This is where the water's going to be let out. You want to be able to cover it with your thumb. You're going to hold your thumb over this while you're filling the bottle. And once you invert the bottle into the water, this will act like sort of a self-watering little pump that will keep the water at a constant level. Okay, guys. So all I did was lay out a green and white tray, and then I put 2 strands of 1-ply toilet paper across the top. That's just going to act like a net to hold our seeds. Okay guys, so this is what our seed tray looks like, okay? So I'm using multiple seeds. Some of these seed packets I've owned for quite some time, so I'm using multiple seeds. But so over here, we have about 5 or 6 seeds. These are for our tomato Super Sweet 100s. I'm only really gonna put 1 of those on the rack because these will get huge. But I think we have 5 or 6 seeds here. Those are gonna germinate. You notice we're not using any potting soil or anything like that. We're just putting the seeds right on the tissue. We're just gonna keep this tissue moist, and these are going to come up just fine, okay? You're going to see this works really, really well. Over here we have our 2 different types of peppers. Again, I'm using about 5 seeds or so for each pepper. The ones on the left are the Serrano peppers, and the ones on the right are the jalapeno peppers, okay? Above that, we're going to grow about maybe 12 or 15 peas on this shelf, okay? So I've got those laid out here. I used 1 pack of peas. I took about half of them, and I threw them on here. The one thing I'm not sure if it'll germinate like this without soaking are the peas. So I am grabbing the other half of peas, and I'm going to soak them just as an insurance policy. But I'm going to try and see, just as a prototype, as an experiment, if I can just do these peas, just let them sit right in the water and see if they really need to be soaked or not. And then on the top level here, we've got our cucumbers, our Space Master 80s. And I think I've got about 5 of those laid out across the line there. And right back here, the rest of the plate, that's where our water bottle is going to go, okay? So let's get that moving. Let's get that in action. Okay guys, I spritzed everything with the spritzer, and then I filled the bottom tray, the green tray, right up to the surface line of the white mesh, okay? So if I move this just a little, maybe you can see, maybe not, but it's right, I don't know if it's showing up on camera, but the water line is right touching the mesh, okay? And I put the seeds in back. Now all I'm gonna do is put my water can in front, and then I'm gonna cover the back and keep it in the dark. Okay guys, so here's my water jar, okay? And I filled it up just by holding my finger over the hole, okay? Now I've got it inverted. I'm just going to flip it back over straight up and down right onto this plate. Let's see, it'll look like this. Pretty simple, right? There it is. I can move it around now as need be. And that's going to hold that water level right at that threshold of where the seeds are. It's perfect, okay? All the seeds should get just the right amount of water, but not get drowned. This has been working out really well for me. It's one of the easiest things that I've found. You'll see other videos where I've used mason jars and other things like that. This way works great too. The main thing about this is that you have to keep the lid on tight. It's got to be airtight. If it's not airtight, then water will seep out. Okay, so now I'm just going to add a cover to kind of help keep the seeds in the dark. You could as well cover it with a towel as well, but I'm going to use 2 plies of the green covers like this, and I'm just going to put them right over this tray, just like that, to kind of help block out some of the light, just like that. And if you wanted to, you could put a towel over that. I may do that here shortly, just to kind of help keep those things a little bit in the dark, right? But that's all we got to do. Now this is going to germinate. Everything on this tray should germinate within 1 to 2 weeks. Definitely all of it by 2 weeks, some of it before then. And then we'll start moving them to their actual places on the rack. Right now you'll notice that the cap of this does sit just a little above the threshold. So if I could find a shorter plastic bottle, that would be better. I'll do that here in the future as well as we optimize everything. But this works out just perfect, and you're going to see these seeds sprout. And look, we haven't used any potting soil, almost no cost of anything. This is such a great way to do it. I love these green and white mesh trays. They work awesome, and this is just an awesome way to automatically water things that are on them. But anyways, going forward, this rack is awesome, guys. Yeah, hey, so hopefully you're looking at this and you're going, well, hell, that was simple, right? That's the reaction I want. It is simple. Everything I do, I try to make as simple as possible, as effective as possible, and very inexpensive. So that's what I'm going to be doing with this rack. Hopefully you can see that it's just got so much potential to be so useful all through the winter, and I'm even going to be continuing it through the summer, right? I love growing indoors. It's awesome. Hopefully you guys are following along. I'm going to cut off the video here because I don't want to make too long of videos. I want to keep these short so that people watch them and keep just so people can follow along and just make it super simple and easy, right? The next video I'll be showing you as we add our microgreens and our baby greens to the upper portion of this, right? But you can see the rack. It's going to be in the back of all my videos. You'll see the progress. I'm going to be showing you the progress all the time. I'm going to be showing you the different maintenance that I do, which is very, very small. I'm definitely going to be showing you the harvest, right? So I think once you see how easy this is, I think that you'll want to follow along at home. And that's my goal, right? Because I think it's the most applicable for everybody in the world, for everybody in the States. Anybody can find 1 square foot, and it's not expensive, man. I'll leave a link to the rack. I'm not going to go over all the different components. Basically you need the rack, you need the lights, and the lights are magnetic. They stick right on. I've zip tied them to help hold them, but it's super easy. There's almost no tools needed to set this thing up. So you need the rack, you need the lights, and you need the green and white trays, right? We may use a few other tubs as the plants get bigger and stuff like that, but generally getting you started, that's what you need. The rack, the lights, and the green and white trays. I'll link a video to where I actually unbox this rack and set it up the first time, and you can check it out, and that'll give you all the details so that you can get one too. They're not expensive. I got it on Amazon for like 18 bucks, right? So definitely check it out. I'm glad you're here. Please, everybody, do this rack. Subscribe to my channel. I'm going to show you how to do this. You're going to be totally successful with it. You're going to be just pulling off so much great food all winter long. Do this. If I could choose one video that I want you to follow, it's this one. I've always said that. I've said that about the high density greens, and the high density greens are a big portion of this, but the real vegetables are there too. This is the best thing going, man. This is the best indoor garden. I've got full-size grow racks upstairs. My concern on those is very small. This I love. I love the efficiency. I love that everybody can do it. When I say everybody, I mean you. You watching this video, do this, okay? Subscribe to my channel, follow along. I'm going to be documenting all of it. Please subscribe, like this video, share it with people, and do this. I'm having so much fun. You're going to see me having fun. I want you to be having fun and having lots of great food to eat too. This is Troy time, and this is awesome. We're going to have a great winter, guys. We got the plants growing. We're going to be canning more turkey soon. It's going to be awesome. Follow along with my videos. Make sure you subscribe. This is it, guys. This is awesome. This is Troy time. I'm out.